government, since 2017, have a contract with a company called Jospon Group of Companies, owners of Zoomlion, and they have a contract to employ the youth to sweep the city and keep the city clean and all.
But the question you should ask is, the contract that was given to him was to make sure the city is clean. Question is that clean?
No.
Exactly. So
No.
when it even goes beyond what he's paying the workers, the thing is, has he been able to deliver on his contract, the side of the contract?
No.
If he has breached any part of the contract, then this is criminal.
Yes,
You
he
see?
must be responsible.
So we have to have accountability. Prosecution must follow.
Exactly.
Prosecution. A monthly salary for those people is going to be about $500.
20,
25.
Disrespect.
That's about how much I use for data in a month.
Lack of empathy.
Yeah. People have been asking this question: how difficult is it for us to set up factories, to create jobs and all of those? So they can't allow that.
Welcome to the Warrior Kings podcast. This is the best patriotic podcast in the world. Here we talk modest, political, and patriotic. And today we have a lot to discuss. We have local subjects and Pan-African, which is African subjects. So I have my Warrior King brother here to discuss that. Niai.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, bro. Nice.
So today we have a lot to talk about. For the first subject, it's about Youth Employment Agency.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
Ghana's agency to cater for the employment of youth.
Right.
And the current CEO of the Youth Employment Agency, Malik Basintali, and he's raised a subject that concerns all of us to talk about it, in the sense that the government, since 2017, have a contract with a company called Jospon Group of Companies, owners of Zoomlion, cleaning agency, and we all know Zoomlion, and they have a contract to employ the youth to sweep the city and keep the city clean and all. So it turns out that the company charges the government 850 cedis a month, but pays the personnel, the youth who are doing the job on the ground, 250. So the company is taking the upper side of the deal.
Right.
And the new CEO finds it appalling that the government would agree to such a deal with a private company. So he wants the contract to be renewed or reviewed in the sense that he's bargaining for the youth to gain more in that contract. So I think it's a patriotic subject to talk about it, since it concerns the youth, it concerns all of us.
Course, yes.
So what?
Let's jump right into it. Okay.
Yeah,
So
let's do
yeah.
that.
So I think this is my first time on the podcast. So greetings to all the viewers out there, and very interesting subject. Basintali, yes, we saw him during the campaign and the energy and everything that he brought into the news
election.
space. Yes, it was interesting to see how it's going to go. Somehow he has been appointed the CEO of the YEA.
Yes.
And yes, we're monitoring closely to see what it's going to do differently.
As a youth.
As a youth, yes.
Yeah.
The Jospon issue, I personally don't believe anything different is going to happen. Because this is a company or a man that he has shown face throughout multiple administrations. Right?
Yeah.
And it's been one corruption case after the other, right?
Serious power.
And this is supposed to be a pastor as well. He's an elder in the church.
Yes, in the
But
big
then
church.
the level of corruption that he's engaged in is legendary. As to if there's going to be anything different done with this, I doubt. But then the issues there are very interesting, yes. It's clear he's taking more from the government, but then he's not paying his workers what he's supposed to pay them.
Yes.
Yes. This is not the first issue. We at the Economic Fighters League had picked up this issue.
Yes.
We had actually demonstrated against it.
Yes.
Back then, it was up to 1,000.
Yeah.
See, it's not 850. It was
Yeah.
up to 1,000 from the
Okay.
government. But then he was still giving, at the time, he was giving 150.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it's gone up to 250 as against 850, you realize that there's been some changes.
Yeah.
But nothing really significant has happened. Yes.
Yeah.
But the question you should ask is, the contract that was given to him was to make sure the city is clean. Question is Accra clean?
No.
Exactly. So
No.
when it even goes beyond what he's paying the workers. The thing is, has he been able to deliver on his contract, his side of the contract?
No.
You see? And by normal contract law, if you don't keep your end of the bargain, then there's no contract then.
And there are ample evidence in the sense that serious journalists like Manasseh Azuri
Right.
Awuni
I've brought up
have-
some serious issues.
Yes, he's raised and I watched news yesterday.
Right.
The PRO for the Zoomlion, some Kujoji, some
Okay.
lady was buttressing. She was arguing with Manasseh,
Manasseh.
and Manasseh made serious revelations. Even bins,
Yeah.
bins
Yeah.
for.
The
Waste.
collections and all those things.
there were
Big
contracts.
scandals, yes.
Yes, exactly.
So she didn't even answer the real issues.
Yes.
She was attacking his person.
Exactly.
You know, and that's what they
Exactly.
do when they are guilty.
Exactly.
But yeah, so this is an issue. I like to see how this case develops. But then personally, I don't have much faith in the system as it runs that they're going to do
Yeah.
anything different. Because you see, it doesn't
Historically.
go just with cancelling or reviewing the contract.
Yeah.
If he has breached any part of the contract, then this is criminal.
Yes.
You
He
see.
must be responsible.
So we have to have accountability. Prosecution must follow. I mean,
Exactly.
prosecution. So, but then in this system, there's nothing like that going to happen. You can count on that.
Yeah.
So, but then there are more revealing things with the YEA. So it's the Youth Employment Agency.
Yes.
Now, in any serious economy, the most employable sector would have to be agriculture and industry.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to create the most jobs in the shortest possible time, these are the two main places you can focus on.
Yeah.
Right. But then Ghana, as it stands right now, is a consumer and not a producer.
Yeah.
We don't
Consumer
produce
economy.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
don't produce anything.
Yeah.
We spend about 80 million Ghana cedis importing toothpicks every year.
Exactly.
But we have bamboo in abundance.
Yes.
The machine to produce toothpicks on Alibaba is going for as cheap as $12,500. Yes. So, I mean, it will not cost so much to set up a
Yeah.
toothpick manufacturing company.
Yes.
Yes. But we don't even produce toothpicks. We
Yes.
import them, right? So I was hoping the YEA would have brought out a comprehensive plan for industrialization. At
Yes.
least, if nothing at all,
Yeah.
start producing our most consumables.
Yes.
That, you know,
Yeah. We
So-
control the means of production.
And then that
What
would
the
have
people
created more
need-
jobs, you
Exactly.
see.
Recently, there was the sanitary parts
Right.
procurement.
300 million Ghana cedis.
Instead of producing, we
That
are,
could set up a
we are
factory.
procuring. People are gonna get their share, and
Yes.
they're gonna be rich. So the few would benefit from
While the
what
masses, yes.
exactly.
So $300 million, I mean, 300 million Ghana cedis could have set up a factory to produce those sanitary
Exactly.
pads, yeah.
It-
But we spend that to buy a one-time purchase.
Yes.
We distribute them, they run out. So we have to
Yes.
find another money to
Yes.
go, procure some more.
Yeah.
That is, but then there's a reason for all of these, right?
Yes.
I'll just touch on the YEA, then we go to the reason why Ghana has not been able to industrialize, right?
Yeah.
So another issue with the YEA thing I saw was his negotiation with the sport betting companies. He has to create some 600 or 500 jobs. But then in the negotiations, they were looking at a monthly salary for those people. It was going to be about 500 Ghana cedis.
2025. Disrespect.
That's about how much I use for data in a month.
Lack of empathy.
Yeah, that's how much I use for
Do
data
they
in a
live
month.
in Ghana though?
So you see, there's a big disconnect between politicians and the ordinary
yes.
Ghanaians.
They created their own class.
No, exactly. That's the
Yes.
thing. Yes.
Yeah.
So 500 Ghana cedis as monthly salary. I mean, you have to consider the person's transportation to and from work.
Yes.
If rent, utilities, all of these things.
Yes.
Count. Like I say, 500 Ghana cedis is just about how much I spend on just data in a
Yes,
month, and that's data without calls.
Yes.
See, so how is someone going to live on 500 Ghana cedis in a month? But then they'll come out and give us statistics that they've created this number of jobs.
Jobs.
I mean, big insult to the Ghanaian people.
How many lives did you impact with that?
I mean, but let's look at this. So the question here would be, why has Ghana not been able to industrialize? That's a very good question.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to set up a factory and employ people so we can produce or manufacture?
Yeah.
It's a very simple question.
Yeah.
There was a foreign policy that was passed by the British Parliament all the way back in the 1600s called the Navigation Act,
Yeah.
right? And this in essence says the colonies at the time had to be kept as raw material producing colonies and
Yes.
not to industrialize.
Exactly.
Because if they were allowed to industrialize, they would be in competition with the industries in Europe.
Yes.
And since these were the sites of production for the raw
Yes,
materials,
yes.
if they industrialized, then means Europe was not going to get any of the raw
Yes,
materials to
then
produce.
colonization wouldn't make sense.
You know?
Yes.
Then again, they say even if Ghana wanted to produce, say we produce cocoa, if we wanted to sell cocoa to Nigeria, we had to send the cocoa to Britain.
Yes.
Then Britain sends the cocoa to Nigeria.
Yes.
Does not make sense anyway.
Yes.
But this was a foreign policy that was developed all the way back in the 1600s, and it continues till today.
Yeah.
You see,
Yes.
so someone will be asking. People have been asking this question: how difficult is it for us to set up factories,
Yeah.
to create jobs, and all of those? No, they
Yeah.
can't allow that.
Yes.
And that's why when Nkrumah started industrializing, building factories, they had to remove him. And the
Yes.
first thing they did after removing Nkrumah was to sell off all of those
Yes.
state-owned enterprises.
Yes.
Yes. So that's
Yes.
one issue with
Yes.
job employment.
Yes.
So if this government is serious, which I know they are not, and they cannot do anything about
Yes.
this,
Or
about
rhetoric.
creating jobs, we should look at agriculture and agribusiness or agri-industry. That's
Yeah.
industrialization as well. Yes.
Yeah.
But this cannot happen, no.
Yes.
It's
All
cannot.
rhetoric.
Yeah.
See.